How about that bell ringing, huh? Isn't that something? Well, it's been a long time since we've been together, Club 31. In person, I mean. So it really is fantastic. It's wonderful to see everybody. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being here. Seeing each other, even with masks on, as some people said, it's good to see most of you, right? Most of that part of you, right? Darlene Mast. Tonight, it is all about Darlene Mast, 16 years as Executive Director of the Rotary Club of Denver. I'm sure over the 16 years, Darlene has organized many, many celebrations and tributes to other Rotarians, birthdays, end of year, changing of the guard, president events, but never has there been one, to my knowledge, to my guess, that was for Darlene, about Darlene. So that is tonight. Okay. Does this microphone work better as I move it? Can you hear me all right, first of all? Good? Okay. 16 club presidents, 16 foundation presidents, that's a lot of presidents, plus Bob Loudermilk, if you count his few days or so that he had in office. That's a lot of people that Darlene has been supporting over the years, and so, plus employees that you've managed, it's been a lot. Tonight, let me be the first from the stage to congratulate you, Darlene, and what you've done for Club 31 over the years. It's been, and for retiring. If you were able to see the meeting that we had at the end of June, I think it was the end of June, the last meeting of the year, and we gave some awards. We honored Darlene with an honorary Rotarian for life with Club 31. And many things were said about Darlene then, about what had happened to her over the years, and I'm not going to go through that full list. Tonight is more of a chance for us to hear about some of those things in more of an anecdotal style, rather than a list of accomplishments. But honorary Rotarian for life, and also keep in mind that Darlene is really a part of the Mast family, which really is a Rotary family. That together with the Wilkins family, together with the White family, 4 generations in Denver Rotary, the Mast family is so essential to what Denver 31 has been over the years of 112 years? How many years have we been a club? I don't know. Since 1911, so that's a math question for somebody out there. All right. Tonight we have some songs, we have some storytelling, we have some gifts. It's going to be fun. One thing that Lauren was able to observe in preparation for tonight is that pretty much every Rotarian from Club 31 that are current members had some involvement in tonight's preparations. Whether it's being here tonight or whether it's being a part of some parts of the gifts that you'll see later, but it really has been full participation, which really speaks volumes, Darlene, about how many lives you've touched. So we're glad to be here for you tonight. I mentioned this is the first time we've been together in person in a long, long time. This is important. I know for at least one person out there in the club, this is the person's first time here at a Club 31 meeting. Chris Hemingway is a brand new member. This is the first time he's ever been here to see other Rotarians in person. He joined us during the Zoom days. Debbie Wilkins as well is here. Where's Debbie? There. Mike Levine, there's several of you here. Awesome. First time they've been in person. We do this a lot in normal days. So thank you for being here tonight. And also thank you all for kind of putting safety first and keeping each other safe, because we want to recognize each other. We're taking somewhat of a risk in some ways being here, but we want to make sure we can do this again in the future and not harm each other. So thank you for wearing your masks and recognizing that. And thank you for the background noise there. I don't know what's going on. Ben Allen's trying to figure that out, but kick it, Ben. There's a lot of hot air up on stage, says Andre. He's right. Just so you know, the party tonight, just a little housekeeping, we anticipate finishing up right around 8:30. The catering company's coming to pick up the chairs then, so if you're still sitting in it, you're going to have to start standing. But we plan to be talking up here on the stage for about an hour or so, and then have a little bit of time to chit-chat with each other. We have some thank yous I'd like to cover. First of all, Joe Noblick of Chewy Foos, the restaurant and the food truck that's here tonight. Thank you for driving all the way out here. I don't know if you can hear me. They're back there in the truck, but they gave us, they drove their truck all the way out here. Joe is a friend of Lauren's and gave us a great special deal on the food tonight, and I really enjoyed my food. I hope you enjoyed yours as well. But thank you, Joe and team there at Chewy Foods for feeding us this evening. Also, I need to look around and locate my people here. The Schloop family. Where did you guys all go? Oh, there you are, back there. Thank you very much for bringing us into the scientific sod farm location here tonight. It's outstanding. Working with you all and your employees to get ready for tonight has been wonderful. They've been so great to us. And David, getting everything organized from the road to this room here, thank you. It's a privilege to be here tonight in your space. Margot, Lisa, and David, so thank you very much for that. We know that I think we really know that that Don would be so glad to know that we are here tonight celebrating Darlene in his space. So it's really truly a wonderful thing. And for those of you who are new to Club 31, we can fill you in more on that as the evening goes or later. If maybe someone or all three of you might come up here for one quick moment, we have some small gift for you tonight that we'd like to give you.
Thanks for you. So one of these for Margot, for you. Please don't open it yet because it's a surprise what this is. We'll find out later. Okay, great. But thank you all very much. Thank you so much. All right, you're welcome. Okay, you wait one moment.
And thanks for allowing us to be in this space tonight. The Rotary Club of Denver has made a donation of $500 to David's mission, which is part of Eagle Projects International, a mission that he does abroad. And Steve and Darlene have actually matched that with another $500, so a $1,000 gift to your foundation this evening. So thank you very much for that. David, can we ask you just for a moment to tell us a little bit about Scientific or something that might be interesting for us about this place? And before I do that, we have some safety protocol. We need to wipe the mic.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so you'll get used to this tonight, folks. Sorry for that.
Drop the mic. But
Please don't drop the mic. Please don't drop the mic.
We didn't practice this.
Very good. Thank you all. Welcome to Scientific Sod. And again, this is a tribute to you. So I know that my dad meant a lot in your life, along with Grant Wilkins. And so my dad isn't able to be a part of us tonight because you all are here. So thank you for coming out. Many of you know my dad, Don Schloop, and I'm David Schloop. And so we're just welcoming you here to our place. I know the crude oil and the compressor keeps going off next to the wine and so forth, but it is a working farm, so it's the best we have to offer here, okay? But a little bit of, he wanted to share a story about my dad, and if you looked on Google, for example, you would see that this is actually White Horse State Park. And the reason why is because when this land was purchased, it was a group of 7 different state organizations. You've got Division of Wildlife and Parks and Rec and others that came together with my dad, and there's actually an environmental easement over this land in protection around Bar Lake. There are bald eagles that are in this area. It's a protected habitat environment. Kids come out, they learn how to hunt and hunt some of these geese that are all over here. But there's duck blinds and other things back there that my dad always was a conservationist. That was really his big thing. And he was a school teacher. He was, wanting to then bring that education out into the business world. So you are on White Horse State Park, and the reason why it's called that is because my dad, and if you went into his office, which I'll open the door, you can see, he always would say, well, I go out in the fields and I get up on my white horse. And he always called himself the Big Chief. And he could look out over all of the land, and he'd sit up on his white horse, and that's why they called it White Horse State Park. So you all are welcome. I'm really glad you could come out here, and please just enjoy yourself, and congratulations to you. And again, thank you for the donation. I'll be going hopefully to Mozambique and Nepal and Bhutan, in November, so praying that the Lord opens that up to be able to go. I really appreciate it.
To kick off the fun tonight, we have past club president and renowned showman, Judge Bob Kapelke.
Thank you, Jim. I had the great fortune of being the first president to serve with Darlene Mast. And just recently, I've learned some new and interesting facts about Darlene. She grew up in Randolph, Nebraska, a farming community not far from Sioux City, Iowa. The 2010 census indicates that the population of Randolph at that time was 944. And I imagine that's still the population because it's one of those places that whenever a new baby is born, a man leaves town. You have to think about that. Randolph is known as the honey capital of the nation due to the per capita number of beekeeping families. Is that right, Darlene? Good. I've also heard that lately the town is abuzz about somebody's retirement, namely Darlene's. Darlene's middle name is Kay, which rhymed with the middle names of her siblings, Ray, May, and Jay, and Faye, and Gay, and hey, you get the picture. I learned that Darlene's father was in the fertilizer business, so she's ideally qualified to handle all the burning issues that confront Club 31. Let's see, we learned that Darlene was a straight A student, which doesn't surprise any of us, and she was on the gymnastics team. And her specialty was the balance beam, and as we all know, she's been on the beam ever since. At age 18, she moved to Lincoln and began working in a bank. She later moved to Denver and began working for the downtown branch of the United Bank of Denver. And she later got married to some fellow named Steve and raised a wonderful family, including, quite coincidentally, the new executive director of Club 31. As you well know, Darlene, you were my lifesaver. As a reminder, in 2004, just a day before I was to succeed your splendid hubby as president, your predecessor as executive director resigned in a huff because the raise we had approved for her was not as high as she was demanding. Steve and President-elect Becky Mallory and I had made the decision on the raise. As if the timing were not devastating enough, your predecessor wrote a scathing letter criticizing the three of us and the club in general. And she asked her assistant to mail the letter to every member of the club except 3. And the assistant said, would the 3 by chance be Steve, Bob, and Becky? And the answer was yes. So I was in a panic. We had no executive director and no plans for selecting a new one. How would we continue operating in the interim? That's when a certain angel named Darlene dropped down and volunteered to serve the club in the interim until we selected a successor. We put together a selection committee. The applicants for ED were an impressive lot. Several had postgraduate degrees, and nearly all had substantial experience in the management of nonprofits. At the conclusion of the interview process, all of us on the committee looked around and agreed immediately that you, Darlene Mast, were by far the best candidate. You knew all about the goals and activities of Rotary. You knew most, if not all, of Club 31's members, and you had already demonstrated your ability to steer the ship. The vote was unanimous. So for me, what had begun as a daunting challenge quickly turned into a delightful year, in large part because of you and your can-do style of getting things done with a smile. And what a relief it was to have you as my Rotary partner for the year. During that year, the centennial year of Rotary International, we raised the highest amount of contributions by our club to RI, and we successfully carried off our centennial project, the dedication of the marvelous Branch Rickey statue at Coors Field. John Hickenlooper, Wellington Webb, and Branch Rickey's grandson and namesake were on hand for the occasion, as was our own Mr. Rotary, Grant Wilkins, who had headed up the project. I had a ton of fun that year working with you and Secretary Larry Boning, as well as our terrific District Governor, Diane Kessel. It's hard to believe that it's been 16 years since you came on as the Executive Director. During that time, you've had to put up with a new president of the club and of the foundation every year. And each had his or her own management style and agenda. As best I can tell, all the presidents would echo my pronouncement that you have been, in a word, a lifesaver. I mentioned that your gymnastics specialty was the balance beam, but I'm told that ever since you announced your retirement, you've been doing nothing but handsprings and cartwheels. Thanks so much, Darlene, for all you've done for the club, and best wishes for a wonderful, richly deserved retirement.
Next, we have a series of past presidents who would like to share some words with you. Bill? Come on up, Bill Houston.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Right in front of you. Speak. No, it's on. It's on. Just hold it closer, Bill. You're good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was the third president to come into leadership under Darlene. And I've had many, many years. I joined the club in 1980. Don't do any math on that, but at any rate, I want to share one of the most poignant moments of mine in Rotary, and hopefully one of the most poignant moments for Darlene. For many years, I've carried the veterans program, and the format is to have members wear some piece of their uniform and gather in the hallway and wait until we pledged allegiance, and then we would have them come in under the anthem of their own service. 2 years ago, we had this event, and there wasn't anybody from the United States Coast Guard. So I asked Darlene if she'd bring the flag in. And so we got through the first alphabetically, and we got to the Coast Guard. And Darlene brought the flag in to the anthem of the United States Coast Guard. At that point, I presented arms, and she came in and got on the stage with the rest of the veterans. That also happened the year following. And for me, that was one of the most poignant things, because her father did serve in the Coast Guard, and he did serve in World War II. You have my great admiration and respect and professional respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. There's so many memories in the club, and folks that are at all new to the club, don't know these, and it's an important part of our history. But now we're going to change gears a little bit, and incoming President Ian Campbell's got a little song for us here. So let's jump to that.
So I know you're shocked that I'm up here. But I looked up and said, whose guitar could that be?
Yeah. Good.
Okay, so it would probably help if I turn this up. All right, so how you doing? On the edge of your seat. Now Pam asked us not to roast her last year. Darlene made no such request, but I figure what is better than a roast of the guest of honor than a roast of the people that she brought, like that love her. So this song is for you and about you, but it's making fun of people that you know. Darlene, 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 I'm begging of you, please, don't leave our clan. Darlene, 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 please don't leave us just because you can. Your steadfastness is beyond compare. You may have even given Jim back some hair, but when the DAC was being so mean, that was you. Like a feather spring, your voice is soft like summer rain. Wish I'm gonna miss you here, darling. Now I'm sure this isn't a big leap, but there's nothing that we can do to keep from crying if you're not here, darling. Darling, 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 I'm begging of you, please, don't leave our clan. Darling, 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 please don't leave us just because you can. Now I can easily understand how you might want to leave this clan, but you don't know what you mean to us, darling. We all know Lord will be divine, but when will we ever see Steve cry if you're not here to bring him round, darling? We had to have this talk with you. Our happiness depends on you and whatever you decide to do, darling. Darling, 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 begging of you, please don't leave our clan. Darling, 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 please don't leave us just because you can. Darling, 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 darling.
Thank you, Ian. Ian is going to be back up here in just a moment for more. In the meantime, we have some more stories from other past presidents. Jim Goddard, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
This may be a memory that only Darlene will remember. Springtime, 2014, large club conference. Memphis, Tennessee. I've never been to Memphis. How many of you been to Memphis? Peabody Hotel, easy walk down to Beale Street. Now, Darlene is one of those people who is so careful about what she says. We're at this conference, and our goal is to try to figure out a new fundraiser. Branch Rickey is starting to fade a little bit. We need to figure out, what are we going to do differently? I think some of you remember those times. Well, they still exist to a certain degree, I guess, but we landed on this concept of a club challenge. And Darlene knows all of these people at this, well, all the directors at the club conference. And so she points out and goes after the San Diego club, great rival, Broncos versus Chargers. She puts together a morning meeting, day 2. I'd been to Beale Street the night before. Not a good idea. But Darlene also, as was mentioned before, she's been handling all of these different presidents. It's like a conveyor belt of these stars that come through that are either on the Star Trek Enterprise, either guest stars, Captain Kirk, or an expendable security officer. Sometimes you feel both of those in one day. But Darlene is Spock and Bones and Uhura and Chekhov and Nurse Chapel all in one. She knows so much about the club. She knows the members. She knows the details. She knows the politics. And when you're a president, you've got a lot of decisions to make. And some of those first decisions are, who are you going to put on a committee and who are you going to have as a chair of a committee? And always it's good to talk with Darlene. I would give that advice to anyone, and I'm sure Lauren has picked up this skill. But she has this look. Some of you know it. When somebody makes that suggestion, and you know she's just bursting to say something, but she's not going to say it. And sometimes you get that little eyebrow as well. And when you make that suggestion, you know, okay, I'm going to step in something really bad. I better talk to her and find out what's going on here. So back to Memphis. Second day. She's put together a breakfast meeting. I wake up and I go down to the meeting area. There's a continental breakfast. It doesn't look very good. I need some protein. I've got to go to the restaurant. I'm walking out. I see Darlene. She says, okay, we'll see you back there. And I said, yeah, okay. I'll be right back. Went to the restaurant, never came back. Totally missed the meeting that she had put together with the San Diego club. I thought, I'm going to get the look. I'm going to get the real deep look. I got back. She had smoothed over everything. She'd recruited them to do this challenge. This turned out to be one of our best fundraisers of the year, thanks to Don Lewis in particular. But I have to say, Darlene, that as much as you want to say certain things, you're so right to not say them sometimes. But you know, and you're so understanding, and you're so flexible, and you carry things through so well. I've talked to so many presidents who said, you know, I never would have been president if Darlene had not been the executive director, and I'm one of them. Thank you. I really enjoyed working with you. Thanks.
Andre, please make your way on up. Let's see. And while we're waiting for Andre, he's coming up to the stage, just a quick announcement about the food. I know some people waited and didn't want to eat right away when you got here, so they're still working in the kitchen to get food to come on out, and so it's coming. Lauren is running the food back and forth. So thanks for your patience on that. Oh. Wiping the mic. Okay. Andre, there you go.
Thank you for the white mic. So you know how we like to talk about my year as a president? Well, my year as a president was an unmitigated disaster. Think about it, right? So I get to be president, and I'm going like, I'll only be president if Darlene is still there. She swore to me she'd be there, and she was there. But then she tells me, says, we don't have a lot of money, so we have to get rid of the accountant. But I'll fill in the gap. And she jumped in and she filled in the gap. Then we still didn't have enough money, so we lost our lease and we had to move. And Darlene says, no sweat, I'll move. But I won't do it twice. I won't do it twice, she said. I'll do it once. I won't do it twice. Then I went on to lose the Branch Rickey Award, right? I mean, it's 30 baseball clubs came to us and said, if you want us to give us our Athlete of the Year to be considered, each club has to receive $10,000 from you. So I lost the Branch Rickey Award. And then, just to be way ahead of the White House, we allowed the N-word in the club. Nepotism. And that is when Darlene came to me and she says, I think that I have the perfect candidate to fill in the gap, and that is my daughter. And boy, what an unmitigated, awesome move that was. Okay, so Darlene, you made my unmitigated disaster year a success. So thank you very much for putting up with very difficult stuff.
Pam Adams. Club president from the year prior to last year.
The calm before the storm, as I like to call it.
The calm before the storm. What storm? What are you talking about?
Well, I kind of like to rhyme here and there, so I wrote a little poem called Ode to Darlene. The year was 2004. President Bob Kopelke was in the lead of Denver Rotary Club 31, and the club was much in need of an executive director to lead and to serve as well. Darlene was the perfect choice. It was very clear as time would tell. A family history with Denver Rotary, Darlene gave her heart and soul. 17 presidents were served, and I'm sure a few of them took their toll. I'm trying not to look at anyone specific. On Darlene's patience and on her time, never a public complaint would she say. Though it might have been observed, she bit her tongue along the way. Though it might have been deserved, she bit her tongue along the way. A new boss every year, no tougher job could there be. Darlene adjusted and adapted thanks to her personality. Her personality to help, her personality to do good, her personality to speak the truth of her agreement of sure we could. From peach sales to Branch Rickey dinners, to committee sign-ups and the holiday show, to weekly luncheons and meal selections, soon Lauren will be in the know. Of the dedication and the logistics Darlene made to the club year after year, it's hard to imagine the retirement of someone so true and so dear. Dear to the club, dear to our heart, dear to the foundation, those all are just the start. My true appreciation of you, Darlene, cannot fully be expressed. The honor and chance to work with you confirms that I was truly blessed. The commitment you always gave to Rotarians and to many a friend will be there in your next adventures, and we know this won't be the end of our chance to stay connected and a chance to share in your fun. Congratulations on your retirement, Darlene. Your journey has just begun.
I'm told there might be another past club president or two out there that we didn't get specific reservation from to talk, and so I'm opening it up to anyone in particular that might be out there. Seth?
Thanks, Jim. So my story is not about when I was club president, but I did join the year Bob Kopelke was president. So Darlene's and my terms are similar, except I'm not retiring. Can you hear me? So this is a story about a past president quaking in his boots when Darlene kindly, but sternly, let him know he screwed up her carefully laid plans. Anyone else here done that? Well, except for Steve and Lauren. It was the evening of our last Branch Rickey Award. I had forgotten how, but I ended up at a table that seemed almost empty. And she remembers. And for some reason, I knew the auctioneer and his team that night, and they seemed to have nowhere to sit. Who sees what's coming? So seeing an opportunity to accommodate our auctioneer, who among you would not have invited him and his team to your table, right? Really bad idea. See, it turns out Darlene had plans for those empty seats that included our good friend Charlie Miller and his lovely friend Ingrid. Where are you? I saw Charlie walk across. But alas, it was too late. The auctioneering team was seated, and there were not two seats together anywhere else that night. So Charlie graciously sat with me, my guest, and the auctioneering team. We had a great time. Hey, Charlie. Charlie. I have no clue where Ingrid sat that night, but I suspect to this day Darlene does. Darlene, you were indeed very polite when you let me know of my screw up. But there was no question in my mind that I had screwed up. And that's as it should have been. Let me reiterate other comments. It was always a pleasure working with you, Darlene. You did a fabulous job for Club 31, and we love you.
Thank you, Seth. Any other past presidents out there that I might have missed, or I think we're down to a president who just happened to be in charge last year, which was me. Darlene, 2019-2020. Do you remember that year? Best year ever. Best year ever. It started out in Long Beach at the Large Club conference that Jim Goddard was referring to. The presidents always go away with the executive director for a couple days to meet with the other executive directors of large clubs around the nation, and they get together and they talk about the years to come, and they prepare for it and what could ever go wrong, right? I mean, because you have plenty of time to talk about it. I came back with big ideas and thoughts, and Darlene came back from it and said, Jim, I don't know, it wasn't that great of a conference. We didn't get much time to talk together and figure out exactly and prepare for the year. So perhaps a little bit of an inauspicious beginning, I would say. Well, nonetheless, our plan in 2019 and 20 was to do a little bit of office transition planning so that Darlene could retire and Lauren could take over in the office. We were going to do a little board, club committee succession planning and get things prioritized a little bit. No big deal, right? And then I started tweaking with the budget. And then I added Rotary Engagement Day programs to the lunch meetings. And then I added weekly surveys and more with the district and Rotary International. And that was even before July 1st when I actually took over. So July 1st hit and I gave my speech, and within a matter of days we heard from the Denver Athletic Club, the DAC, that, hey, we're going to rip up your contract and sorry, you're out of here. And that started a hunt for a new venue. And wasn't that fun? In September, we had the honor of recognizing Don Schloop at the University Club and giving him the Golden Flipper Award for his years with the Pancake Breakfast, and unfortunately he passed, but to a better place later in September. After 9 lunch meetings at 4 different venues and 11 soup days. How about those soup days, everybody? Yeah? 11 of them in 1 year. That was awesome, wasn't it? 9 different lunch meetings, different venues, soup days. We finally signed a contract and a new venue. And life was golden. It was great, right? And then the governor said, you're not allowed to meet in person anymore, and we didn't even meet at that venue after that. We were on Zoom for the rest of the year. Boy, what an adventure that was. The rest of the spring was filled with those Zoom meetings, figuring out how to meet online, adjusting dues, COVID-19 and our response to it, and strategic planning and hiring an outside consultant. Boy, easy stuff, huh? Then we had a late freeze in Palisade, Colorado, and our peach crop was ruined. Then we had the ransomware attack, and the entire office's computers were shut down for at least a week, maybe 2? Longer than that, yeah? I mean, what a disruption through the course of the year. And we planned for an online continuation of leadership, and you did a very wonderful job with a clandestine secret backyard party to honor this outgoing president. So thank you for that. But Darlene, my question to you is, you have 16 years of doing this. Couldn't you have seen some of this coming? Right? I mean, couldn't you have warned me what I was stepping into? My goodness. But anyway, as for the original plan of training Lauren to step into the executive director role, I'm sure that she got enough from the fire hose of this last year. And in fact, really, it was the perfect year for you to really look at her and say, hey, Lauren, sorry, this time, now it's your turn. Thank you, Darlene. All right. Jack, come on up. This is the unscripted portion.
I apologize for being so bold as to speak for the 16 other presidents of the foundation, but no one else stepped up, so I'm up here. And for those of you who don't know, Darlene really had 2 jobs. Running the club was the big job, running the foundation was right up there. And she overcame many obstacles, one of which was this incredibly complicated granting formula that I didn't create, but I compounded, aided by several other people. And really just want to let you know, Darlene did all the same stuff for the foundation. She worked us through some really terrible problems. She carried me through a time when we had to dismiss our previous investment advisor, who was also probably the largest contributor to the club, and sent me out to give him the message, and graciously brought me back to earth, licking my wounds from that meeting. But anyway, thank you from the foundation for all of your support there as well.
Thank you, Jack. Well, I believe now we're ready for another musical interlude with Ian. Are you ready? He's ready. Okay, let me set this mic back up. Darlene, thank you for tolerating all of that. There's a little more to come, a little more.
I think this is the cleanest that this microphone has been since I bought it. So, when we were planning this whole thing, we were talking about a lot of things, you know, I mean, everything from what to eat, to what to where to have it, and the music, of course. And so, we looked at the script a couple weeks ago, and, you know, I had the Darlene song, and then had there was another song in there too, and I'm like, and, you know, I was like, yeah, I'll play for as long as you want me to, absolutely. And so I started thinking about what I wanted to play for this next part, and started, you know, like reaching out. I asked Lauren for some insights and, you know, for some favorites, and found out that there's Last Kiss that apparently used to sing as when they were kids, and you know, I started practicing that, and I realized that if you listen to the entirety of the song, it's a really sad song. And then apparently there's family dancing around tables for You Can Call Me Al, which Lauren, I promise you we're going to revisit at some point in the next couple of years. And then there were some other things, but in the meantime, while I was going through all this, I asked some people in the club for words to describe you. And I took those words and put them into a little song. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that if this is bad, they wrote it, not me. But this, to our dear friend, is from the club to you. it's been such a long time you've been serving us. Now you get a break from us. The strength and the wisdom that you've given us we'll always remember from your time with us. And Darlene, we hate to see you go, for all of the time that you spent with us. I couldn't imagine anyone deserving this more, but still we hate to see you go. Your dedication has been second to none. Your grace and your charm will never be outdone. Master of all that was handed to you, you cared for us all, and you welcome everyone too. Darlene, we hate to see you go, but for all the time you spent with us, we couldn't imagine anyone deserving this more, but still we hate to see you go. We'll miss all the time that we get with you, and for all that you've done, we'll always be thankful to you. I hope that you know the impact that you made, and always remember every time that we say, darling, we hate to see you go, but for all of the time you spent with us, we couldn't imagine anyone deserving this more, but we hate to see you go. We hate to see you go. Hate to see you go.
Thank you, Ian. I think we can hope to have years ahead of us of Ian charming us in this way with his voice and with his guitar. So, how many years have you been in the club?
This club, what, 3?
30, just his third year, and we all know him so well, which is fantastic. Bob Loudermilk has requested a special moment here. Bob, come on up.
Well, I am probably the most unusual president of this club that there's ever been, because I became president of Rotary 31 in my very first year as a member of Rotary. And it happened in a rather unique way. I was at our luncheon meeting, and Jim Johnson was the president Doug Johnson was the president at the time, and Doug wanted to raise some money for Denver kids, and he was going to leave Denver. And since he was going to leave Denver, he decided to auction off his presidency for the 6 days that he was going to be gone. Nobody was going to have an opportunity to do anything, no authority, no responsibility, nothing else. And so I was sitting right just off to the side, just on his left side, and I was sitting right next to Howard Johnson. And so we watched as he went ahead and auctioned off this thing, and the price did not get up to the price that he wanted. And you could tell he was almost on his toes trying to get someone to go ahead and bring it up that last bit. And so I went ahead and put my hand up just to give him go ahead and help him a little. And he went ahead and said, sold! And so I bought that presidency for $1,000, the cheapest presidency of all of the presidents of this club. Well, for the next 6 days, I had no responsibility, no authority, no nothing. Didn't bother me a bit. And so we then went over to the Cherry Creek Country Club. And I found out then that I was supposed to take a pin and pass it from Doug over to Sue Fox. And so I took the pin and I made Sue Fox president of the Rotary. And didn't know what I was doing, but what the hell, I went ahead and did it, you know, a novice. And got done with things, successfully did that. And then about a week or two later, I don't know how long it was later.
Stage. Coming from the back of the room at this moment, we have current president of the club, Debbie Beasley. Andre, are you coming up as well, I believe? Melly is coming up, and so is Mark Donovan, and they are with their arms full here. I don't know where they're going with this cake, but do you need help knowing where? No, you're good? Okay. Debbie, I believe I'm handing the microphone to you, is that right? Okay.
All right, take note of the cute cake with the bobblehead of Darlene. So cake will be served immediately following the party, so hang out for cake. We also have a number of gifts that we are doing, that we have for Darlene. A number of them are, you get to take home and find out, but here is one. So this is a gift from all of the club. It includes over 75 contributions, 40 photos, recipes from recipes, and we have a smaller version that we made. So you get the bigger version. My favorite page, I just opened right to it, is Don Schloop, the pancake recipe, and Don flipping the pancakes. So there's a number of fun recipes. These are going to go on sale afterwards for $30. Check, cash, or credit card. We'll also have an email blast out where you can order them, but the proceeds will be, the Mast family can designate a project that they go to. So thank you. All right, and next up is Andre.
Thank you very much. Can you see the headlines tomorrow in the newspaper? Rotarians meet at a farm that grows grass and then rolls it up. But they didn't inhale. I can see that for tomorrow. Now, I was, years ago I was talking with Jack Barker, past president of the club, and I was going to become president, and he told me, he says, you know, Andre, when I was president, we had 600 members. So I asked him what terrible thing he did to bring us down to what we are now. But I told him, all you are is a has-been president. And he says, Andre, has-been is better than never been. So I thought it would be great to reach out to the has-been presidents of both the club and the foundation. And everybody, even presidents that did not serve with Darlene, were very generous in contributions in getting this gift for Darlene. And Darlene, this has been picked up by your very own laptop. But I've got to warn you, that laptop is, you've got to be very careful. If you type the word Rotary on it, it'll crash. Okay? So, don't type Rotary. So we did a collection. We thought it would be nice for you to get a computer. And there's some extra cash in the envelope. And my hope is that you guys go on a small little trip, maybe to Arvada, and have a great time. Okay? Love you.
So that was a coming together of all the past presidents, 34, 32 of them for, and some additional members, special members of Rotary that came together for that gift. Next we have Lauren Mast and Steve Mast would like to come up on stage, and they have some words as well. We got some Clorox wipes up here, we'll be fine. Oops, I should use one, shouldn't I?
Well, as you can tell, everybody knows what Steve does because they call it, pulling a Steve when he's crying. So we both took some beta blockers just to kind of make this a little bit better. So if we start to drool, I don't want it to become from pulling a Steve to pulling a Mast, so. Mom, Darlene, I've just gotten home from our 100th or so happy hour, and I'm reminiscing about yet another memorable coaching conversation we had about Rotary. Thinking how many people get to have a drink after work and be mentored one-on-one by their supervisor, and this frequently. I remember sitting at the restaurant on 17th Avenue back in 2014, pulling out my pros and cons list of a mother-daughter work team. And I remember walking away thinking, I think this might actually work. There may have been a bit of nepotism and a bit of convenience, but who better to train you than your own mother? You know my strengths and how to rely on them. You know my weaknesses and how to improve on them. You know how I operate. Beyond just that, you have only ever wanted the best for me. But you never once gave it to me. You taught me to work long and hard, be humble and always appreciative, be a critical thinker, to listen versus talking more, which I'm still working on. Always double and triple check my work. Look at all scenarios as if you're in the weeds, so you're prepared for all outcomes. To know that there is always more to learn, and to be a strong woman in the workforce. To strive towards intelligence over beauty, and to address fellow women as Miss versus the masculine Mrs. Again, I ask, who better to train you than your own mother? Since we got you a book, we made you a book actually. Charlie, I forgot to bring it up if you wouldn't mind. Mom, you had every single past president of both the club and the foundation Without Sue Fox, may she rest in peace, write a letter to you about how amazing you were. You had every single one of your family members write a letter to you about how amazing you are. And you had all of your close Rotary friends and beyond write a letter to how amazing you are. So I'm actually reading this letter, and this is what I wrote in it. It's a copy-style book, but it is once again an example of how every single person in Rotary has touched your retirement in one way or another. Since I plan to read this in front of many of my employers, I will just say when I was much younger and somewhat less perfect than I am today, did you ever think we would be where we are now? I sure didn't. While we've had our ups and downs these last 6 years, as anyone would, we also grew so much closer than I ever could have dreamed of. Beyond being my mother and my business mentor, you are my best friend. And I'm not sure if this bond would have been as strong if not for Rotary. It also brought me much closer to Dad, the 3 Rotary Masteteers. As I was reading the 61 other letters in this book from your past club and foundation presidents, your family, your Rotary friends, couldn't help but think, even after Mom retired, I'm still learning from her. The loving and thoughtful letters everyone wrote about you has one common theme: the blaring admiration and respect every single person in this club has for you. The time, resources, thought, and care that everyone here and some safely at home put into honoring you is proof of your everlasting legacy here at Club 31. To say I have big shoes to fill is a gross understatement. But if growing up with and consistently being put in my place by 2 older brothers has taught me anything, it's that I'm always up to the challenge. Our last month at the office was difficult to say the least. With so much left to do, we charged on knowing the tradition was coming to an end and weren't sure if we should be sad or celebrate or commiserate over happy hour. The thought of doing this without you and without me to help me was overwhelming. But I will never forget the moment when I saw what it was truly like to be a mother. You told me, Lauren, I'm not going anywhere. I will always be here for you. You're only a few days into your retirement at the point that I wrote this letter. And you have already fulfilled that promise and then some. Mom, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity you provided me at such an outstanding organization. Thanks to you and Dad for introducing me to a community of business professionals who still manage to find time for service above self. Thank you for always pushing and questioning me. Thank you for allowing me to make my own mistakes so I can learn from them, many times pointed out by the Rotarians in this room. The growth I have had in these last 6 years is largely due to you, so thank you. It's the last page, I promise. Thank you for being there when things were tough and being there to celebrate when things went according to plan. Thank you for your trust, confidence, and recommendation to allow me to be your successor. And thank you for allowing me some distance, not too much, to allow me to find my own rhythm. Thank you for being the strongest and most compassionate boss a daughter could have asked for. I owe you so much more than I will ever be able to repay. So I end with a congratulations. A job well done doesn't quite justify the dedication and loyalty you have shown to the club in these last 16 years. I cannot wait to see what happens in this next stage of your life, from finishing your home remodel to traveling, shopping, wining and dining, the surplus of available time to bring me lunch at the office, and so much more. You have truly earned it. With that, I already drank my drink, but I'd like to raise a toast to Darlene. As your daughter, I love you with all my heart. I always have, I always will. As your superior, I love you, but I need you at the office at 8:30 on Monday. Cheers.
Very nice. Not so easy to follow. And I'm good. I'm okay. Brian, I wanted you up front. But anyway. Most of you who know me know that I don't do well with this stuff, but I've been eating beta blockers like they're candy, so I'll either drool to death or whatever. But anyway, it's been done some, but bears repeating. First of all, on behalf of our family, and especially Lauren and me, I want to thank all the people that worked so very hard to make this evening so very special to Darlene. It started with the party committee, who put endless hours, effort, and brain cells into making tonight as special as it has been. Could I get the members of the committee to please stand to be recognized? Debbie Beasley led it, Mark Donovan, Ian Campbell, Jim Johnston, Andre Von Hall, Bob Kapelke, Charlie Miller, and Ben Allen. Thank you all. You can't imagine the amount of effort that was put into by these people to make tonight what it is. And at the meetings that I was on, I typically tried to finish up the meeting with a thank you, and I couldn't hold back tears. So then came the Schloops. And Margot, David, and Lisa, there could not have been a more meaningful place, as has been said already, to be tonight. The Schloop Sod Farm. As Darlene will tell you, and you know, Don Schloop was very near and dear to her. So especially meaningful to be here tonight in many ways, that he could be with us tonight. And thanks Ian Campbell. I mean, you did better than you've done in the past, which is always incredible. But anyway, both songs were incredible. Second one, both Darlene and I were a little teary-eyed, but for good reason. And so thanks for your contribution tonight and all of this stuff for looking it up on stage. And during the process, as Debbie Beasley mentioned, Debbie and Harriet Downer and Millie Kennard worked very hard on the cookbook. And that'll, I'm sure, be a very positive and successful fundraiser. And thanks again to Andre and Jim Johnson for softly putting the word out for Darlene's quote-unquote travel fund, as Andre described it. And a huge thanks to all the past presidents and others who contributed to this fund, so that Darlene and I could take some travel money, and as Andre said, maybe go to Arvada. Anyway. And then there's the executive director, Lauren, who made sure we were all organized and picked up many of the tasks herself, as any great ED would do. And she had the idea and put together the memory book of member comments. And I'd really encourage you to take a look at the book. It's phenomenal. I mean, the cookbook and the memory book are amazing. And we couldn't have done it without Joe Noblich, and I'm sure I screwed up the pronunciation. I asked and immediately forgot it. But for Joe, who owns Chewy Fu Restaurant at 11th and Santa Fe, and provided all the delicious food and drink tonight. There's more beer that Joe brought in at a very friendly price, I might add. Thanks to the volunteers organized by Millie Kennard, who rolled up their sleeves and set up for tonight, made sure things went well during the night, and will be cleaning up at the end of the night. And I want to recognize and thank our kids who are here tonight, Chris and his wife Jody, and their son, our grandson Clayton, who will be 3 years old this September 5th, Brian and his fiancée Stacy, and Lauren's fiancé Charlie. I hope tonight has given you a better understanding of what your mom has been doing these past 16 years. And lastly, and it's been expressed, but I want to thank all of you who attended in this strange COVID environment. As Lauren said and Jim mentioned, I don't think there's a Denver Rotarian that has not, quote unquote, touched this night, from organizing it to attending it. So thank you all. And finally, Brian, come on. My message to my lovely and talented wife, Darlene, is I love you, hon, and welcome home.
Darlene, I'm told that you might want to come up and share just a couple words or more, we'll see. But I'll tell you, this is a remarkable night tonight for many reasons, but one in particular that I don't think in the 16 years has happened before is Darlene speaking from the microphone to the crowd. She's avoided it every chance she gets. Lauren, same thing, and you saw her up here as well. So maybe Lauren will change and she'll be talking every year, we'll see. But Darlene, welcome to the stage. As you're gathering yourself, just a quick announcement, enjoy your cake. Hopefully you all got cake. If you didn't get cake, hold up your hand so we can get some to you as well. I'm told that we were out of beer for a moment, but we're no longer out of beer. So if you want a beer, beer is over there as well. And Darlene, with that, let me hand the microphone to you after I sanitize it.
I have notes. First of all, I'm completely overwhelmed. See, I don't do this. I'm completely overwhelmed and deeply humbled standing here in front of you. For those who know me well, as Jim has said, I am way out of my comfort zone here. Especially because my emotions are really in high gear. But I can't let the evening go by without attempting to express my heartfelt gratitude for all of you being here during this very, very crazy time in our world. First and foremost, and it's been said again, but it can't be said enough, a huge thank you to the Sloop family, Margot, Lisa, and especially David, for generously hosting this evening here at Scientific. As was noted, being a small town Nebraska girl, I feel right at home. And as has also been noted, the only thing that would make it better is if Dawn and Grant were here. But I feel them. And Marlene, with you being here and you become such a close friend to me, I feel Grant too. Thank you for providing such a wonderful venue to showcase this party committee's efforts. And what an effort. Debbie, I'm completely blown away by yours and the committee's efforts and what you've accomplished to make this such a spectacular, creative evening. All I knew was the date, the venue, and there would be some balloons. The committee did a really good job about keeping everything from me. Having, as has been said, having organized just a few Rotary events in my life, I know how much time and effort goes into it to make it a success. But never in my wildest dreams could I have envisioned an evening such as this. And the program, Jim, past presidents, the cookbook, the laptop, I get to work from home. It's so exciting. And the fun, the travel fun, it means the world to me. The volunteers, the committee, you will hear from me, each individually. Your heartfelt words expressed by everybody touched me deeply. You've done good, and I will forever be grateful. I love being the reason for Denver Rotarians to come together tonight. Rightfully so, I share this celebration with all of you. I know EDs are not supposed to have their favorites, but we do. But all of the Rotarians and all of my favorites have filled up this room tonight, and I thank you for that. I have so enjoyed sharing over 800 Thursdays with each of you. Although in a different capacity, I look forward to continuing to serve and sharing your passion to do good in the world. You have all become friends. Individually and collectively, you have all made a very profound impact on my life, and I will forever be grateful. Speaking of Rotarians, and it's been mentioned, 16 club presidents, 16 DRs, 17 club presidents, 16 DRCF presidents. What a remarkable group of men and women volunteers, and I stress that word, they're volunteers. I celebrate each of you tonight. Can you imagine having 32 bosses? Well, at least I let them believe that they were my boss. Yes. It's really difficult to describe the special relationship a president and their ED share during their 1 year together. Each of you have brought your own unique qualities, personalities, strengths, all with one common goal, to really make a difference, and you did. And you made a difference in my life. You were my mentors, and I learned from each of you. Once in a while, I also learned what not to do, but those were few and far between. I started with Bob Kapelke, and I ended with Jim Johnston. It couldn't have been scripted any better than that. How fun it is to celebrate with my family. I'm glad that Steve introduced you all. Thank you for your loving support, especially during those early years, the long hours when you had to share me with my other family. You are my greatest blessing, and I can say one thing with certainty. My heart wouldn't be whole, nor my life full, without all of you, and I love you dearly. And Steve, I celebrate you. When I walked into the Rotary office on July 5th, 2004, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But you believed in me, mentored me, supported me, indulged me. I could not have exceeded without you. You were always my biggest fan, as I am yours. You are the love of my life. And I look forward to enjoying our new retirement adventure together. I'd also be remiss to not give a shout out to my other Rotary Steve Engbers. Where are you, Steve? There you are. I am sure there were times when you thought I was in way over my head, especially when I convinced you in the club that I could become the club accountant. Thank you, Steve, for your guidance, your friendship, and being my Rotary Rock for 12 years. And finally, I have just one question for you. How's this new ED working out for you? Pretty good? When Jim Goddard, he was the one who made the final decision, wisely agreed to let me hire Lauren, I knew she would be, where are you, Lauren? I knew you would be my greatest contribution to the club and to me. What a gift it has been working side by side with my beautiful, competent, intelligent, charming, funny, overly organized, very tall daughter for these past 5.5 years. Even though mother-daughter dynamics would kind of surface now and then, we always respected this wonderfully rare gift we had been given to see each other in a different light, in a different role, two professional women in partnership together, one I will always cherish forever. However, through dedication, hard work, and a passion for Rotary, she earned the right to be your ED, all on her own. Lauren, I couldn't be more proud of you, and it brings me such great satisfaction knowing that I leave the club in good hands, better hands. Lauren is exactly what you need right now and to carry you into the future. You will soon come to know this was the best decision this club ever made. daughter, the best within you is the best within me. It has been an honor and a privilege to be a part of this extraordinary family of Rotary. And I thank you for letting me be a part of it and so many wonderful memories. Thank you for the cookbook, the laptop, the travel fund, the songs. And I know I'm missing something. Arvada. Yeah. Yes, the table book with all the notes, which I look forward to reading. It's been an adventure for me, and I thank you all.
Well, what a night, huh? That concludes what we had on our program for this evening. So much has been said, and I'm not going to repeat it all other than just expressing my gratitude for so many things. For the Schloop family, I forgot to mention I'm wearing Don's pin tonight. That pin that, I call it Don's pin, but the one with the 2 polio drops and the child with the Rotary, I know he always loved that pin, and so I'm wearing it tonight, and a few others you might notice. To the Party Planning Committee, thank you very much, and to everybody who got here early and helped volunteer. Along those lines, if you all could help as you depart this evening, if you can take the piece of blue tape off the back of your chair, put it in your pocket and save it as a memento, and bring your chair over to back where we got them, close to the registration desk. That would be very helpful. But what a great night it's been. It's so nice to see everybody. It was months ago back in March when we were last together like this, when you last had to endure me with a microphone in my hand. And so I'm just going to go, no I won't. But it's great. Thank you for trusting that this was a night that would be safe. And what better excuse, there is no better excuse that we would have to get together than to honor Darlene tonight and the 16 years you've had. And Darlene, you deserve it, you earned it, and so much more. So thank you. And with that, we have a special guest tonight coming up to ring the bell, I do believe. This is my daughter, Maeve, who is really excited. And as we ring the bell, one moment, Andre, yes? We can buy the cookbook, and I'm not fully appraised on it, but I see people waving in the back of the room, and back there, the place where you came in, the cookbook is for sale. So we encourage you, it's a fundraiser for the foundation. If you buy a cookbook, and it's guaranteed that every recipe works out very well. Guaranteed. $30. It's a special discount tonight on sale from that price of $30 down to $30 as a fundraiser. So please stop by there if you'd like to buy one. So thank you all for coming tonight. Hope to see you all again soon, and drive safely on your way home.